Hey there, fellow classic comic collectors. As always, I'm Scott Harris King, and today I'm really excited because we have part two of my complete run madness, looking at my complete run of Captain America. Not the Golden Age Captain America, that would be great, but no, this is the Silver Age Captain America. Last time around, we covered Tales of Suspense number 58 to 99 as we went through all of the split book era from Captain America. Seriously underrated, seriously undervalued, as I talk about in that video. All of that stuff, there's all the split books are wildly undervalued for no good reason. So hopefully people will start to pick up on the fact that that's early Marvels, key Marvels, going for half, a quarter of the price they should. But now we're going to get to some more books that are underrated and undervalued, underappreciated because of the numbering. And that is Captain America numbers 100 to 150. These books, the split books, always have lagged behind. When they got to issue 99, they split. So Captain America got his own title, and Iron Man got his own title, and Iron Man 1 is still worth multiples of Captain America 100, even though they're essentially the same book. So if this Captain America 100 said Captain America 1 on the cover, it would be worth 3 times as much as it is. That doesn't make any sense. It's completely arbitrary and goofy and dumb. But that's the way it works. It's taken a long time for these books to even get to where they are now. So we have a lot of gems here that are kind of underrated because of the numbering. So let's just jump right into it here. There's some classics in this run. We're going to cover numbers 100 to 150 today. And we're going to start off, obviously, with number 100. Here we are, Captain America number 100. Big premiere issue. I mean, assuming you ignore issues 58 to 99. But yes, big premiere issue. Cap in his own magazine at last. The only reason they didn't do this a long time before this was simply because of, let me adjust these lights a little bit, get a little bit less glare, simply because of the distribution deal they had. But here we are, 1968, and it's time for Marvel to expand. And we got issue 100. We got the Black Panther here, who, this is the end of an arc with the Black Panther. We see the Avengers in the background. Although most of those characters weren't actually really, it's the original Avengers team. These characters weren't actually appearing in Avengers at the time, except for Giant Man. But we got the Avengers, we got Namor, we got Black Panther, we got Sharon Carter on the cover. One of her earliest cover appearances. I think it might only be her second cover appearance. But end of this storyline is when Captain America invites Black Panther to join the Avengers, which he does just a couple months later in Avengers 52. And then we get into this run of books which are really underrated and undervalued to me, which is Captain America 100 to 108. A lot of great Kirby books here. Here's 101, Red Skull, When the Sleeper Awakes. 102. I got these all from the same collection a long time ago. They've all got a crease along the spine here. I think whoever was reading it had folded the cover over, and they all have it. But I got these all really cheap. Other than that, they're tight. They're nice. They're nice mid-grade books across the board. Good colors, and here's 103, another Red Skull cover. Sharon Carter again on the cover. And these are all, it's all Kirby, and I have a soft spot for the big Captain America logo, which only runs up to issue, 108. So just from, 100 to 108 with this logo. I think these are really undervalued and underappreciated. Here's 104. I don't like covers like this. Kirby like to do these sometimes. Got the blank background. We got a bunch of little figures. This is a bunch of Red Skull's idiotic henchmen. They're all terrible. 105. Batroc the Leaper. I'm a big fan of Batroc. and we got Swordsman and Power Man. I've talked about this before. Sometimes, like, you think of these characters as sort of Avengers characters or X-Men characters, Fantastic Four, whatever, and you lose track of where some of these characters have appearances in solo books in between their appearances. So this is taking place, coming out at the same time as Avengers 55. Again, it's very easy to tell the numbering because it's exactly 50 digits off. This is exactly 50 below Thor and above Avengers. So this comes out the same month as Thor 155 and Avengers 55. And we're next going to see Swordsman appear in Avengers 65. So just a few issues later. Here's 106. Here's a classic Kirby cover. Reminds me a lot of Daredevil 43. You can see I've still got the $3.50 price tag for what I paid for this, and it's actually a quite nice copy. You know, higher mid-grade, 6.5. It's got like a few technical things, but it's really tight and sharp, beautiful. 107, I paid $6.75 for this. This is a great cover. I think this might be the first appearance of Dr. Faustus, who's a great villain, one of my favorite Captain America villains. Captain America traditionally does not have a great rogues gallery, but Dr. Faustus is right up there, really well used in the Brubaker run in particular. And then we have 108, Target the Trapster. So this is the last of this Kirby run with the big logo. And then we have, let me just get organized here. Then we have this. It is the Origin of Captain America classic cover, bursting through the newspaper. They changed the logo so it would fit in with a newspaper theme. Great Kirby issue. So this is one that is worth a little bit more than the issues before it, but not more than the ones after it, because, of course, here's where we get into some of the big hitters in the run. It's Captain America number 110 with Jim Steranko, this amazing Hulk cover, just fantastic. I have a quite nice copy. It's probably a I want to say it's close to a 7 borderline. It might only be a 6.5. Looks beautiful. Got this for about, I think, I want to say I paid $7.75 for this a long time ago. This is in the 80s. And absolutely great. Now my 111 is the classic cover, and I have a really nice copy. With the white cover, it's hard to find them true white, and mine is sort of off-white. Even with that, I think my copy it's got just the tiniest hint of a dust shadow right along the bottom corner. I think this is probably an 8 and maybe an 8.5. So it's really high grade, beautiful. It's got a grease pencil date, but that doesn't really affect anything. Absolute all-time classic Captain America issue and cover. The interiors of these are amazing. Just like mind-blowing work from Jim Steranko. Also incredibly confusing to try and make sense of them. Because of what happens here in issue 112. I paid $8 for this whenever that was, way back in the day. It's the album issue. Cool cover. It's a bunch of like pinups and stuff. And we have this issue to blame for Steranko leaving Captain America. So he was late on the book, and Stan basically was like, in a very Jim Shooter-esque move, it was really important to get the books out on time. So rather than wait for Steranko to finish the issue, he put out this album issue instead. And the result was that Steranko got really ticked off that it interrupted his storyline, and so he quit. He finished the issue he was working on 113, and then he left the book. So we just get these 3 issues of Steranko magic, and then that's it. That's all we get. And it's basically because Stan decided to put out this 112 instead of waiting for Steranko to finish. Who knows what we would have gotten, but this is what we ended up with. So it's a really cool issue, and it's it's a cool cover, but yeah, it's a bummer. What's interesting about this cover is it's everything on it is clearly Kirby, except Captain America's face doesn't look quite right. I don't know. The rest of this is definitely Kirby, but that does not look to me like a Kirby face unless they did something weird with the inking. It just doesn't look right. Almost looks like they did a paste up and had someone in the art department correct it. But anyway. All right, and then we get, here it is, Steranko's last issue. Captain America 113, actually, of the 3, this has always been my favorite cover. I just absolutely love the moodiness, the creepiness, the coloring. It's just fantastic. All 3 of these issues, absolutely iconic. Just among the best ever. It's so frustrating to think about what we might have gotten from the rest of the Captain America run, or what Steranko could have done with Captain America or turned Captain America into, or just the idea of Steranko staying in comics, you know? It could have been so amazing, and these issues, only 3 of them, and just like set the bar for Captain America, bar that has rarely actually been reached. Just amazing. I just love this cover so much. Of these early issues, this one I paid by far the most for. Other than 100, I don't really remember what I paid for 100. I think I might have traded for it, but I think at the time it was, I don't know, it was under $100 for sure. But what it was at, this one I think I paid $25 for, and none of the rest of these I paid even double figures for. I paid less than $10 each for everything else here. So, but this one, totally worth it. Absolutely love it. 114, John Romita. Of course, had done some Captain America work in the 50s. Then he went to DC and did romance stuff, and now he's back. And he's working on Spiderman at the time, but he also takes on Captain America. We're going to see him back on the book later. 115, you can see I paid $6 for this classic Cosmic Cube cover. Great red skull cover. I'm trying to read the signature on it. It's definitely signed by Giacoya, but I would swear that that this was Marie Severin. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's just such a tremendous cover. 116, guest starring the Avengers. So now this is the same time as Avengers 66, which is a classic important issue. You can see that Clint Barton is wearing his Goliath costume. We get the Vision on the cover, and this is by Gene Colan. Gene Colan had just been drawing Avengers. He had just done Avengers 65. He did a little bit of a run there, but Avengers 66, the same month as this, is actually done by a young Barry Smith. Anyway, you can see here my copy is signed by Gene Colan. Of course, I had the rule. I always have a rule where if I'm meeting an artist and they did anything with the Avengers, I have them sign that first and then other stuff afterwards. But don't worry. Here is my 117, and you can see it says right here, to Scott. Gene Colan. I've always felt this book was wildly undervalued and underrated. Even at the time, I had this signed by him in the early 90s, so it's been 30 years. Might have been the mid 90s, but it's been at least 25 years, and I always felt like this was way underrated. I wish I had found more copies in the wild, but this is the only one I really came across. I think I paid $3.50 for it. It's a mid-grade book. It's actually pretty nice. It's just kind of dirty and scuffed and a little bit wrinkled. I think it's got 1 or 2 small, very faint color breaking lines on it, but I think a clean and a press could actually improve this. But of course, with a signature, especially since it's to me on the front, It would go to Green Label. I'm not going to bother with that if I'm not going to, submit this. But great comic. Very happy to have it. Obviously, the last couple of years, particularly with the TV show, it's finally exploded in value the way it should have been all along. Yeah, so Captain America 117. Here's my 118, which is really nice. The bottom spine is kind of dinged, but otherwise it's really beautiful. Falcon's costume, his original green costume, is kind of weird. I don't really understand the design or the color scheme of the green. It's just, I don't know. 119, the end of the storyline. Red Skull, we have this creepy castle. Gene Colan. It's been a long time since I've read some of these. 120. I am a fan of Gene Colan. I don't really love his superhero work. It's not my thing. 121. I paid $1.50 for this. Most of these books in this run, I mean, I only paid a couple dollars each for all of them, 3 or 4 at the most. And I have some really nice ones. Will be coming up later on. I have quite a few higher grade books in my Captain America run. Here's a really solid 122. Bottom edge has some scuffing, but with the black cover, it's actually really sharp. It's always cool when they have things like this where a character associated with a different character, like Scorpion is obviously a Spiderman villain, so it's cool to see him fighting against Captain America. 123. Cap battles for his life against Nick Fury and the mysterious Suprema. Don't remember who Suprema is, but sounds like a character that we should expect to see in a TV show at some point. 124. Farewell to Nick Fury and the girl Cap loves. I think this is part of a very weird mini era where Cap suddenly found himself like romantically interested in Val, in the Contessa, and it just didn't work. They were really kind of stretching things. 125. It's kind of a cool cover. Again, I paid $1.50. Some of the benefits of buying a long time in the past. 126. I paid $1.25 for this. And this is odd. If you look at the art for this, it looks like a mishmash of different artists. Captain America figure looks like a different artist. I mean, it looks like Kirby, but there's something just weird about the inking. I can't really put my finger on it, but it just feels weird. The inking feels weird. And then we have the diabolical diamond head back here. If I remember right, I think this might have been something where they had to redraw it because Stan didn't like the initial layout. Okay, here's one of my higher grade issues, 127. This is up in the 7.5 to 8 range. Some really cool colors on this. I like the coloring from this era, the 15-cent era. I feel like from like 66 to 68 or so, the coloring on a lot of Marvel books is really dark. A lot of browns, grays, blacks, like a lot of really dark. And then when you get up to like 1969 and 1970, when you're getting into these 50-cent books, all of a sudden the coloring becomes much brighter. And I really like the way it sort of opens up. The feel of these covers just feels so much, it just pops a lot more for me. Here's 128, which I paid $2 for. I'm trying to remember the name of the store I got it at. I can tell by the sticker where I got them. And there's this place in Worcester that's no longer there. That was just classic old school, like these two sort of, fat guys that had t-shirts that were really small and the greasy hair, and they were like suspicious. of everything. Like you were very suspicious that you were trying to get one over on them. And they had tons and tons of great back issues, but they were jammed into these cardboard boxes, so they'd get like bent and stuff. I have a lot of great books that I got from there, but it's very much an experience that if you were around at the time, you know what I mean. A sort of first generation comic book store, and there's still some out there, but not that many. 129 Action Lovers. This one's for you. And this has the Red Skull back again. He showed up a lot back in the day. Just so. Here's a cover that I like. $1.50. It's Captain America 130. Again, I got sort of the lighter coloring. It's almost pastel-y with the logo on the background, and it's like Whirlwind, Porcupine, Batroc the Leaper, the Hulk. Yeah, I just it's a very busy cover, but it works for me. Something about it with the coloring really works for me. 130. Here's 131, another nice copy. Again, it's probably a 7.5 up into the 8 range. No, your eyes are not deceiving you. Don't dare miss. Bucky returns. Of course, he didn't return, not until the 2000s, not until Ed Brubaker. But I like how the villain is just wearing like a really natty sweater. Right? He's just a well-dressed gentleman. 132. I paid $3 for this, listed as near mint. Not even close to near mint. It's not bad, but it's no better than a 6. $3, and again, I got this from that store in Worcester, and I'm just blanking on the name of it. I'm gonna kick myself for not remembering. There's this bookstore down in South Worcester. They had all these science fiction novels. I buy a lot of science fiction novels from them as well, because they had a selection of fantasy and science fiction there that you could get stuff there you couldn't get anywhere else. 133, The Origin of Modoc. I should check and see if this is now worth $1 million because of the Modoc stuff. Madness in the Slums. And this is co-starring the Falcon, so this is important. Falcon has kind of been out of the book for a while. But they bring him back here. I think sales are flagging, and they're trying to figure out a way to pick things up. So you'll notice we're using this logo again. We have for a while. I forgot to note it. We're back to the sort of big logo from the beginning of the series, but with the flag coloring, which I don't like as much. I like it when it's a flat color. It's important though, because this is the last one of this, because the next issue is the first issue where the title changes to Captain America and the Falcon. And we're going to keep this Falcon logo pretty much for all eternity. And this is important because it's called Captain America and the Falcon for many, many years after this. So this is where Falcon officially becomes co-lead in the book. And it's important to say that he's a co-lead because that comes up. There's times in the series, particularly when Englehart takes over later, that's really after the scope of this video. That'll be the next time. But when Englehart takes over, he takes it very seriously that the Falcon is a co-lead and not a sidekick. He is on the masthead, and so there's whole issues that are focusing on the Falcon where they have had some kind of argument, and the Falcon goes off on his own, and we follow the Falcon. That happens actually quite a bit during the Englehart run, where we're focusing on the Falcon, and Captain America is more of the background character. I think this is an important comic. This coming out before the first appearance of Luke Cage. It's a co-lead, but in terms of black characters, we had Lobo in 1965 with Dell. Only had 2 issues, and distributors wouldn't do it. But other than that, I think this is the first time in comics where a black character is the co-lead or lead in the title, having his own series. Falcon really has just never gotten the sort of respect. It's all gone to like Luke Cage for these sort of things, but this is before that. So anyway, just throwing that out there. 135, and this is the last issue will have this Captain America logo. They just took the big one and they squeezed it down, and they're realizing it doesn't really look that good. So, starting with 136, and I happen to have a really nice one, we get this, where we take the Captain America logo that Steranko had used, and we pair it with the Falcon logo, and this is going to be our logo on this book for the next, I don't know, 6 or 7 years until they finally take Falcon out of the book. And for the same reasons that they put him in the book, is the book, Captain America's sales are always middle of the road and up and down, and there's a number of times where it was more down than up, and they're trying to do whatever they can to bring in people. We are going to see another logo very briefly by the end later in this video, but it's very brief. So they bring Falcon in, they change the logo, they're trying to get people excited. They're pulling out all the stops now because here we are. What's this? It's Spiderman in issue 137. Cool cover. It's drawn by Sal Buscema, but it's sort of a classic Kirby design, even though it's right around when Kirby left Marvel. And then Spider-Man is also in the next issue, 138. Spider-Man fans, these are like must-have for Spider-Man fans. You can see I paid $3.75 for this. Again, I paid very little for most of these. 139, I have a really nice copy of this. I love yellow covers. Again, they're kind of really struggling to figure out what to do here. I think Gary Friedrich might have been writing this book for a little while here. And they had this storyline where Steve Rogers in his civilian identity becomes a New York City police officer. And as a result of that, and he keeps like slipping away to become Captain America, he gets in trouble. Like, the Internal Affairs thinks that he's actually like a crook, and it's kind of convoluted and goofy in a way. I see what they're trying to do, but it just comes off weird. But Steve is basically like, do I need to be a superhero in order to serve and help people? Maybe I should just be a cop. And the answer is no, you shouldn't. See, it took me like 5 seconds to solve that moral dilemma. He should have asked me to begin with. John Romita here, $1.50 I paid for this one. A nice copy of 140. Got the Great Gargoyle. He's a character you would think that Cap and Falcon would be overpowered. So I like to see that. I like to see them going up against people they shouldn't be. And on the next cover, 141, we see that Nick Fury, Sharon Carter, the Falcon, they've all been turned into statues. My favorite part of this, though, isn't the flying ship. It isn't the statues. It's the amazing fake mountain with the base inside and the doors. It's just, that's comic books, man. It's great. 141. 142, the ending of this storyline, $1.50. And so here we're into 1971, and here we get the November 1971 double-sized 10th anniversary of Marvel cover, 25 cents. And we get a new logo, which we're only going to have for a very short period of time. We also get the frame covers. And there's this storyline that has to do with Hydra. And as you can see, it has something to do with some kind of commentary on the Black Power movement or something, which I theoretically appreciate. I frankly don't remember the story, and I don't remember it being that great, and I have a feeling if I read it now, I might be a little bit cringed. But it was $2.50 is what I paid for this. I love this era. And I have some really nice copies of some of these issues coming up. So here's 144 with a black cover. Unusual frame cover because they take the frame and tear it in half because they use the frame to be a photograph. And so the photograph's being torn in half, and that's the frame cover being ripped in half. Strange coloring mistake on the cover where the border of the photo appears white, but down here it's green. But I really dig it, actually. Um, here's a high grade. Whenever you can get one of these that's actually got that's a white cover that's actually still white, it really jumps out. Like, you can see the difference. This is what a white cover is supposed to look like. And I'm not like a condition snob, as you know, but it's just so cool to see the bright whites on these old books the way they're supposed to look. So this is 145. Again, I happen to have a lot of high grade issues here. I didn't really pay any more for them. It just turned out that the ones I was paying a couple dollars for were really nice. Here's 146. Now we've gone back to this logo, but now the Falcon is squeezed here. They're struggling to fit his logo into the frame, is basically what's happening. But they'll eventually figure it out. Love the yellow covers. And then he's fighting his way through Hydra. Here's Val on the cover. We get a Val cover. And so here we have a black cover, and I have a really nice high grade copy of this as well. One thing I love about the frame covers is that when the characters are coming out of the frame, it gives you this sort of 3D look, right? And here it is, the Supreme Hydra unmasked, and it turns out that it's actually like the Kingpin's son or something like that. Anyway, the Kingpin's involved in the storyline. The character we saw in the last cover, the person in the chair here in the foreground, that's the Kingpin. Had something to do with his wife. I think they were she's sick or had amnesia or comatose or whatever, it doesn't matter. But just look at the blacks, look at the colors pop. These high grade copies, they're so great. And then we get a nice yellow frame. They're like alternating black and yellow here for a little bit. So we had black for the last one, then we get this yellow frame with the red skull. Again, Captain America's coming out of the frame, giving it a 3D effect. I paid $1.50 for this. It claims that it's near mint, and it's really nice, but it's not that nice. It's got a little bit of stuff along the edge, so it's probably like a 6. Then we go back to another black cover, and again, I like all of these are nice. Like this is like it's got a ding on the bottom right that holds it back a little, but it's still probably a 7 or more. I only paid $1.50 for it. And we got a Gil Kane Captain America with Batroc the Leaper and a black frame cover. Oh my goodness, so cool. And then speaking of villains that are way overpowered for Captain America and the Falcon, it's the Stranger. Here's a nice high grade 150 with a yellow frame cover. They're really bouncing back and forth, black, yellow, every once in a while a white one mixed in, but I happen to love both black covers and yellow covers. The frames, so beautiful. One thing that I didn't mention, let me just rewind a few issues here, is that during this run with issue 144, we get a new Falcon costume. This is where he switches from the green to the classic red and white. But you'll notice he still doesn't have any wings. Yes, Falcon still can't fly yet. He can't fly in any of his issues. He's just a really skilled, like, acrobatic fighter guy that punches people, and he's got a bird that helps him. He doesn't have any powers. He can't fly or anything. He's not going to get those wings until like issue 171, so we'll show that next time. But there you have it, Captain America 100 through 150. Lot of great books, some classic stuff at the beginning. I mean, issues like 100 to 119, really, until the end of the first Falcon storyline. Classic, just great. A lot of them still underrated and undervalued, particularly issues 101 through 108, but a lot of great stuff in there. After that, the book struggles. Like, it's clearly losing popularity. It's hard to have this patriotic hero in the middle of the Vietnam War. And I know that the sales were really affected by the Vietnam War. And so that's when we bring in the Falcon to try and get a little more diversity and appeal to audiences that were tuning out the series because for political reasons. Um, and I think it helps the book. The writer still had no idea what to do with anything, but having Falcon in the book really perks things up. And I think Falcon is a great character, and he's great in the series. We really see Steve Englehart do a bunch of great things with him, right up until his last arc, where everything just like gets about as disastrous as you could possibly get. But we'll cover that next time. Next time I get back to this run, whenever that is, we'll be looking at issues 151 to 200, which covers the whole Steve Englehart run, including some of the best Captain America stories of all time, the most famous Captain America stories of all time, like the 1950s Cap. We'll have the storyline with the Secret Empire storyline, and then the Man Without a Country. All of that's going to be the next time. And then Kirby comes back with 193. So a lot to look forward to next time. I hope you enjoyed this. A lot of great books, a lot of really mediocre stories in the last half of this batch, but they look great. So you can't have it all, I guess. You can't have it all. Anyway, that's it for this time. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.